Ajit, how are you up there in your end of the world? Yes, actually, Ajit, I dial you up to because the country is in a very sensitive time. It's passing days now before we elect a new president, and I think we should speak to the teenagers, the school age people, the university people. I think we need to address them more and more. So that's why I dialed you up, and because I work in Jaffna, right? And I'm a medical doctor by profession, and now I've given up my career to do social work. I see a lot of suffering going on here, things that haven't been addressed as a country, and I wonder because I remember some of my friends were telling. I wonder, as a as a Sinhala speaking person from another community, from another end of the country, could you be also a victim of such things? And would it be okay if I ask a few questions from
Absolutely,
you
yes.
about
Yeah,
that?
yeah, absolutely. Yep. Go ahead, Indima.
Yes, and I wanted to ask you that, as work in Jaffna, right, with many communities, Muslim communities, Tamil communities, maybe even Sinhala communities, say for an example, in Eastern Province, Kantale, Seruvilla, right? I've noticed that the people are so deprived of knowledge.
Absolutely.
Can I know a little introduction about you, and can I know where did you come from and what is your path of academic success?
Thank you, Indima. I grew up in a boundary village. Until 2000, I lived there in Ampara, in a small agricultural community. And so my father passed away very early on, like I was probably 6th or 7th grader. We were the settlers in the Galloi River Valley Development Project. It was totally a Sinhalese community there, and new schools, and all the teachers came from outside, and everybody in these villages, I think very similar to Jaffna, maybe even today, that farmers. The knowledge vacuum. That time there was no internet available and no books available, so we would read stuff from the paper bags, newspaper bags. So I had to thankful to one of my sisters. She would take me to a library a couple of miles away, and by the time I was 7th, 8th grade, I have read every single book, history, philosophy, science, and everything, because that's the only source of knowledge coming to that village. And the tragedy in these villages' lives is never ending. You are growing up in a household. I think this is still common in many, many villages in Jaffna. That's why actually I thought that maybe, having this conversation with you, because I really, really wanted to talk to these students in Jaffna University, in Jaffna School, and communities. So how these tragedies unfold, you're living in a household that there is no income. So you need to produce something, a crop. Maybe in Jaffna, it's onions. For us, it's paddy. You work every day in your farm, you produce something, but they don't grow by themselves. You need fertilizers, you need machineries, you need labor. So labor part is what you invest in. And then you take your harvest, and then a middleman will come and buy it for the lowest possible price. And because there is no government intervention to protect the producers from these middlemen, it's still happening everywhere in Sri Lanka. The government has given free pass for the middlemen to be richest people in the country. Like Sri Lanka has a rice mafia now, right? Like two, three people completely governing the entire rice market, paddy market in the whole country, because government completely gave up on the paddy marketing board. So there is no protection. So we have some paddy harvest. After paying all the debt, we keep a couple of bushels for us for consumption, and then you sell a little bit of that and then buy stuff from Sunday market, things that you cannot produce. And no electricity, no running water. During the I'm sure this is pretty common. During the dry season, we would ride miles with the gallon in the back of the luggage of the bicycle to bring water home. Only few wells in the entire village has the drinking water. And that's how you survive. And then the school is the only escape you have. You go to school and then you listen to these teachers coming from Gampaha and Colombo and other places, and then they were very nice people, honestly. I would not see an end of the tunnel if they weren't there. And one of my teachers, I still am in communication with him. He brought me a Malala Sekar English, English Sinhala dictionary. That's how I learned English, how to speak. I passed grade 5 scholarship exams and I got selected to Colombo DS. And my family knew nobody in Colombo. And my mother said, go to the home village school. Then I went to my village school until O level and then went to Ampara DS for my advanced level. And there were not enough teachers to teach students. So we barely made it to the university. So that's a tough time. I think many of the students in Jaffna area probably can resonate with my experience. But the only thing drove me was I hated working in paddy fields because it's never ending. When I'm coming home, my mother and sister, they're working in the paddy field. Really, really hot water. If you get into a paddy field in that time, like 1 o'clock, after lunch or whatever it is, the water is so hot, you feel like you wanted to pee. It's that hot. But you get in, then you get adapted. And every friend of my school, like all the boys, their legs have this reddish kind of, the layer growing, and all our toenails were like red color from the mud. What is very hard, right? So, and when the harvesting season comes, Indima, half of the school is not coming to school. And nobody's basically wearing shoes. Everybody's wearing slippers. I got to read few books from the library about scientists like Thomas Edison, Marie Curie, and Guglielmo Marconi. And it was like mind-blowing to me. And so I started doing, all the possible science experiment, though there are no scientific equipment in our laboratories. There is no lab in school, just one desk and a room. I actually tried once building a telescope. I was so desperate. My father had 2 pair of eyeglasses, and I cut one of those. And then I got the 2 lenses and then I put it in 2 tubes, and I was trying to build a telescope. I was that desperate. But anyway, I was daydreaming about the life in the West, doing all kind of weird experiments and then inventing new things. So somehow, I was able to pass my advanced level, go to the university, get a special degree, and then came to US, got my doctorate, and then some postdoctoral work. And then now I am in a R1 research institute. There are only 150 R1, major research institutes in the US. I am in one of them. I am training a whole bunch of PhD students in my laboratories. We are doing very high-end research. We are actually working on research related to like using light as a therapy. People can use molecules like adrenaline. You can speed up the heart. Actually, we can increase the cardiac cell contractility using light. We can just bypass we can hijack the adrenaline pathway using light. So we are doing very high-end work. But I'm saying my message for students there is that, we really, really have to hold on to our hopes and our dreams. And now, in the next segment, we'll talk a little more about, what our responsibilities as citizens of this country to make those dreams feasible.
Yeah, I graduated and I came to work in Jaffna, and I saw how much of a suffering they undergo in day-to-day lives. And then I got out to drink Mali. Then there I saw, the Muslim communities and Tamil communities, how they are suffering. The idea of negligence and suffering to me came from these people, Tamils and Muslims in our countries. I thought they they are being neglected systematically, and there was a war going on, and this is what they have become after so many years of negligence. Then one day I was invited to deliver a speech at Women's Day in Kandal,
Mm-hmm.
where like the majority of people are Sinhalese. I got up in this. I'm never shy of speeches, like I'm a very forward and bold one, and I would say anything to anyone in any crowd, right? But then I went on to the podium and I looked at my audience, and like initially I thought there were some marginalized Muslim women or like Tamil women who are in the audience, but then I realized that they are not. Their attires are, the cheetah and hat that. Then, like it was so much of a shock to me. Like I couldn't. My jaws locked. My jaws locked. I still remember the feeling. Then only I realized, like up to that, I thought the Sinhalese are the privileged ones in this country, right?
Some
Rejecting them, and I was
Sinhalese.
more. Yes, to some. Yeah, that's
Some
what. So
Sinhalese,
this was
yes.
the moment. This was the moment I realized, oh my God, like everybody is suffering, right? I thought it's a problem of the minority communities. No, like everybody is suffering. So my jaws locked and I couldn't get the words out, and I froze for about 4 minutes.
So, what exactly you saw
Then
there?
the young people, young women, they look like, they could be 30 or 40, they look like 60 or 70. They were so malnourished. They were so miserable, and the look in their eyes, they were like asking for some help. Realized that it has been done to this country systematically, and the suffering of Tamil people, Muslim people, and Sinhalese people are the same. It's very few who are privileged, and the privileged are equally from the Tamil community, Muslim community, and Sinhalese community. So that's
It's
why they call it a class,
it's a class.
the
They all
privileged class. It's a
absolutely the
class.
elite, the elites, right? They support each
So
other.
actually, when you tell me your story, right? I never thought, because I thought you are a PhD doctor, well-reputed, like university lecturer. I thought you must have had an easy path to your success. Like it seems no.
We were ninth grade. The life is so hard, and majority of students in my class could not afford the long pants, because that's the time, like ninth grade, 10th grade, when the boys start wearing long white pants, right? And so we couldn't afford. None of our parents could not, because that time there's no free fabrics or anything came. And so we all decided to wear short blue pants. I mean, not blue, all different colors of things, whatever your parents can buy. And a lot of people, including myself, we have so many patches in our pants and shirts. Nobody really cares. And then, we had really, really good, very intelligent bunch of kids, very sporty. And we all survived somehow this. And we need to remind now, I know the people in the north lived under gloomy skies so many years, right? Like I'm sure they have threats from multiple ways. Parents were worried about their children's lives all the time. It's a very similar situation. I grew up in a boundary village, and there were so many deaths coming in any form. And I don't want to talk too much into those, because those are very sensitive matters. I'm not going to say who to blame, but my blame is not actually to Tamil people or even Sinhalese people. My blame is on politicians. This is completely fabricated war brought upon us. So what happened to me in Ampara, happening to somebody in Jaffna, some village, would imagine this is because I am a Tamil. That's why I am being treated like this in country. And this is why my school doesn't have water. I don't know, Indima, how come education ministry do not see that there is some water supply is needed to a school, and water supply is need to a school toilet when you have 2,000 students. My village school had 2,000 students. No water supply. The situation has not changed much. I think situation is still continuing. Now, actually, it's a somewhat different level discrimination is happening. Now, there are few people in this country, very powerful people bringing drugs to this country. And when I went to my hometown, my heart broke what is happening to children. It's so sad. And people have given up hopes on education. I met a girl who actually selected to go to university to do a physical science degree. And she was thinking, what's the point of doing a physical science degree? What is going to be my job? What am I going to do later? And she gave up that, and she's now waiting for some sort of job. And now education is more, the poor people is more marginalized because you need about 150,000 rupees per month if you have 3 children just for tuition. And now how can you, I don't know how people they cannot afford this. What is really happening is we are taking about 45,000 students to universities now, 45,000 somewhere there for all kind of courses. Now, what is really happening is now with the affordability, people now, tuition classes are very famous. They can give you like all, predicted questions, and then they can discuss 15 years worth papers, and then you are in the tuition class from morning to evening and all that, right? So what is really happening is, I was told by a former dean of a science faculty that now only mostly the majority of students in universities are upper middle class people, because the other people cannot compete that. How do you compete with that? Like, let's say you have a very high IQ, but you don't get books, you don't have any extra knowledge, you didn't have enough background to go, because schools are not able to cover syllabuses anymore. That's what I heard. People are basically going to school these days just to apply for exams. I mean, maybe I'm not, I could be wrong. This may not be the common scenario in every single school, but
No, it's true.
yeah, right. So now, with maybe you may have the double the IQ that I have, but if you don't get any of those resources, extra knowledge, and then insight into how to write these exams and what is, because it's a time competition, and then
Yes.
you're gonna lose. I just don't need too much. I can. So now we actually created a situation where that only able people, children of able people, can go to universities. So
Yes.
so we need to fight this. You still elect your regional politicians, and all
Yes.
the regional
Yes.
politicians, they have houses in Colombo and Kandy and Nuwara, right? All that areas. And they have properties.
Yes.
All their children are going to school there. And so they don't know your problem. And our representatives never had their children in going to Ampara schools. So why are they bothering about us? And they don't know. So when they build a swimming pool for Royal or Thurston or whatever the school in Colombo, they are not building a toilet for our school. They're not giving a water supply for our school. So how this is fair? This is continuing today at a different level. I mean, now you have access to television, now you have access to internet. But again, the money is the problem. Now, for instance, now Ranil Wickremesinghe government says that, okay, there are no power cuts or electricity is there. But who can afford electricity? So we need to be very, very careful about the choices we are making. So I'm not trying to go after, using my story to get a couple more votes for NPP. But what my story is, NPP leader Anura Kumara, because he grew up in a family like mine, and his childhood exactly like mine. Try to make a buck and try to help your parents. That's the goal. I am sure most of your siblings, most of you are, if you have come to Jaffna University or Batticaloa University or some other university in Sri Lanka from a village, most of you are like that, unless your parents are affluent. So, how Ranil Wickramasinghe understand your problem? He cannot. Chandrika Kumaratunga, everybody thought a woman leader is going to change the education, is going to change the democracy of this country, going to abolish the executive presidency, but she didn't. Why? She didn't go to even Sri Lankan university, right? Her parents sent her to Sorbonne in France. And so she doesn't know that when you go to a Sri Lankan university, you are just barely living on Mahapola.
Yeah.
And there is no income coming. You don't have any money coming from home. You're basically living on Mahapola, very few pennies, right? So my friends, we would go to cafeterias in Japura when I was in Japura. So we would buy those days 2 rupees per plate, and then it comes with a tiny piece of fish and paripu and then rice. And then that person eats it, and then you can get adu. We call it adu. And then you can take this empty plate and then you give it like 50 cents or 1 rupee. You can get another one, but it only get rice and paripu. You don't get fish, other things. Now, one person buy the meal, and then whole bunch of us go and get the adus, and then we were surviving on that. So that's the life in universities. How come Sajid Premadasa would understand that? Because after, I think, 9th grade or so, his father sent him to UK. That's why he speaks English fluently. You know how much of a struggle I had to start speaking English? So I was selected to do a chemistry special degree at Japura. And then I was asked by a professor that, son, you came from, because I had like my marks was probably batch third or something like that. And son, you came from a rural village, and then our course is in English medium. Would you be able to handle? I think his compassion is genuine, because if I were to study English medium, I might get my 3-year general degree maybe with a class, but if I get into the English medium degree, I might fail. I might give up. But that time, I was able to, I spoke to him in English, and, because I was self-studying, and then trying very hard, pushing myself, because I had a dictionary, So this is the thing. So we need to find people who would understand, who can place yourself in the other shoe. Otherwise, you will never understand. Everybody can say, oh, we understand people. No, you will not understand. I don't know how the life of an elite person. I still have my same old life. I'm very, very simple. And then I go to lab, pretty much every day, because I used to work in my paddy field every day. So why don't I go to lab every day? Because I used to work every day. So I think, Indima, this is a struggle for survival for us. We need to resonate with people who can understand us, not this elite of the elite. You can give me a little more insight about like what are the exact problems, issues if you go into a village in Jaffna, if you look into a student of a family without parents, without jobs, what do you think? What do you think they're going through?
I think it's pretty much the same, because as you said, it's not a problem of ethnicity or the community you live in. It's like these things are, universal. You're not suffering because you are a Tamil or a Muslim or a Sinhalese. Like I met some of them today. Like we were in Mandadiv, and some of the children didn't go to school. I don't know how Um, how could that go unnoticed in country like this?
Yeah.
We were talking about the how the suffering is so similar in north and south. So what is your explanation or to the question, why are we poor? Why do you think majority of Sri Lankans are poor despite of their
So
ability?
this is a question that I've been thinking very long time, probably when I was in like 8th grade. And so my mother and my two sisters and I, we work the whole day. Uh, you know, you know, we were working in the paddy field, we were growing vegetables, and then in the evening we go and collect grass to feed cows. And so my sister and my job in the evening was filling kerosene to lamps because we didn't have electricity. And so we would grow plantain, bananas, and then we would sell them in the market, and we would take king coconut, young coconut. So we do all that. The whole week is so busy. One thing is led to another and another. And then in the evening, we would keep our kerosene lamps, and then we study a few hours, and then so we would go to sleep. So I was always thinking, we are working so hard, but my parents, my mother or my sisters could not buy a pair of shoes for me. And I was thinking, somebody must be, because I was reading some books in economics and all that, though I was in like 8th grade or 9th grade, and so somebody is stealing our money. And that was absolutely true. And I remember those days, the President Premadasa, the Sajid Premadasa's father was the president, and then, the country was like so dark, and then so many extrajudicial tortures and killings were happening everywhere. Nobody knows who did those, but people were disappearing left and right. This happened to Sinhalese people. 65,000 Sinhalese disappeared during that time. There are some mothers still weeping about those. It created a knowledge vacuum because most of those students were like high school students and grade 12, 13, 11, 12 students, and then university students. And now what is happening is, Indima, you may have some idea about recently disclosed assets of politicians, especially like Namal Rajapaksa's, right? I went through that, and it was mind-blowing how such a young politician with 54,000 rupees salary as from his parliamentary the membership, collected so much asset during very short period of time. It's mind-boggling. So what is really happening, to answer your question, is that my parents of our peers in Jaffna, our the dear students in Jaffna, the money, the taxes they are paying, and also the money our country earn from exports, the money remittance coming from diaspora community and foreign exchanges and variety of other sources, the money coming into the circulation is being taken out of the circulation and used for pet projects, and also taken out, simply stolen. So now it creates a money vacuum here. So
Yes.
our politicians are so short-sighted. It's not some people may think that, okay, they take some money, they steal, but economy is still sustainable. But these people is stealing so heavy, they didn't know actually there would be a time that we would not have money. I think all these politicians, Rajapakshas and Vikramasinghes and all these people, they just spending this money like never-ending source. And then suddenly there was a vacuum and the entire economy collapsed. All the foreign reserves were depleted, and we went to bankruptcy. We are a bankrupt country. And now,
Out of the blue.
exactly. Now, Ranil Wickremesinghe somehow negotiated a deal with IMF, but he did not bring a single investment to country. He did not do a single thing using IMF money to stabilize the economy. we don't have a plan to pay those debt. We don't have a way
Yeah.
to improve revenues. All these people are proposing and doing is keep selling and selling and selling. Central, the People's Bank and Bank of Ceylon, the Electricity Board, the telecom, whatever left over from all the other terminals of the ports, they will keep selling. And they will next sell the coastal areas. They will next sell all the, heritage stuff. You would not know until the foreign agents come and start packing stuff and take them wherever they want to take them, because Ranil Wickramasinghe would have, has been signing those things in closed door. Still, we don't know what are the terms in the agreement, the last agreement with the IMF. We don't know. He would say whatever come into his mouth. So therefore, I think the wealth distribution, we are poor because so much money has been taken out of this economy that is belongs to my parents, your parents, and you. So that's why we are poor. So we need to elect people who are not going to steal money. I mean, that's the NPP. Last 40 years, so many things, CID and all kind of investigators were like keeping their eyes on this political party, multinational political party, right? It has Tamil people, Muslim people, Sinhala people. They could not find a single thing to point out that NPP stole a single penny. Not a single penny. Otherwise, if they have done, they would have been jailed and they would not be able to do the politics ever again. Absolutely. So therefore, please read the NPP policies in their website. There are Tamil versions there. You will be able to understand what is this plan. I am actually, for me, my life is set. And I don't really need anything anymore from Sri Lanka, but I wanted to give something back because I got my education thanks to people like you, your parents and my parents. Whatever the hardship they did, some of those money was spent on my education, though the majority has been stolen by these crooked politicians. So therefore, please talk to your colleagues, talk to your parents, say that there is a political party who would not discriminate based on nationality, the language you speak, or the religion you observe. There's a party who would want to implement law and order, who would prevent drugs coming into our villages in Jaffna, villages in my village in Varankattagoda. Because, it's easy for police people to catch, petty thefts, the petty crimes like, keeping a small amount of the marijuana or heroin, and then those people get very tough sentencing. It's not the way the prosecution works, right? All these, lower end, completely helpless, addicted people go to jail, but the people who smuggle drugs into the country, you cannot touch them. In this administration, that's why so much drug money they have pumped into these elections. So, but NPP is not one of them. So therefore, I think this wealth distribution, our poverty is completely fabricated, but we should not, if you work hard, you should be able to live a dignified life. Our life was not dignified back then. I am sure most of the people in Jaffna, in peripheries, no matter how hard you work, you cannot live a proud life because the poverty is so bad, so constricting. It's just like eating inside out, right? And people are thinking about how am I going to buy a pair of shoes for my child, and then how am I going to send this student who passed the A level to the university. So these are really, really burning problem. And if you vote for NPP this time, just one time, I'm not going to, if NPP wins, I would not have to speak to you again on this subject. We can talk about science, we can talk about philosophy, we can talk about how to go abroad, and we can come to your schools, we can do a lot of things together. But none of those things are going to be possible if these crooked politicians take back the country again.
Yes, actually, every word you said was true. This is what has been wrong. Like, this is what has been going on with this country, and people never realized it until too late. Now actually we are bankrupted, but people are waking up and we are counting on youngsters to correct that in due course. Then, Ajit, could you tell me about the diversity in academia? Do you think it is enough in Sri Lanka? Could you tell us about your laboratory? You must be working with many students from different countries of the world. Could you share the experience with us?
Absolutely, Indima. So the answer to your first question is actually no. There is a little bit of more inbreeding happening in our culture, like in institutions, everywhere, because you recruit your own, like if you're from Colombo, you will recruit more people from Colombo. If you're Jaffna, you recruit more people from Jaffna. This is actually counterintuitive. This is actually, if you think like biology students, like maybe sitting A level in this November or December, probably under different circumstances with the new government, probably they will know the evolution, right? When you have diverse gene pools, the progeny is much better. So that's less number of diseases and all that. It's very similar. Let's say if Jaffna University recruits people from Colombo and Kandy and Kuranagal and other places, they will bring a lot of knowledges they acquired from different subset of areas. They should recruit people from people who are getting education from the UK and the US and Australia. So their coursework could be different. They will have different initiatives, and they would have experience from very, very different environment. They would make your place much better. So in my university, it's a melting, actually it's a US, it's a melting pot of diversity. You would think that, okay, United States or America is all white Caucasian country. It's not, right? So you have African American people, and then you have a lot of people from India, and we also kind of recognize as Indians because we look the same, right? So that's why I'm saying, if one of you from Jaffna and and I were to be there, they would not know that we are from we speak different languages. That's only different. So, and I meet people I have colleagues from Russia, and then Poland and Ukraine and UK and the Netherlands and Australia, and so they're all here. So only common thing is we all speak English, so we can communicate, we can celebrate each other's successes. We are interested in science. Now, it's very kind of interesting that, like let's say somebody from Jaffna get the bachelor's degree from University of Jaffna with the first class honors or second class upper. You have to do that. When you go to university, don't be lazy. Study hard, work hard. That's very. So, ethnicity will not give you a pass if you don't work hard.
Yes.
So we have to work hard. And for me, being a foreigner in this country, I had to be extra talented. I had to work extra hard to secure my place. Otherwise, you won't be able to compete, because Sri Lankans have this ego that we think that, oh, we are Sri Lanka, we are so smart, and every other country people are so dumb, right? That's what we think, which is not true. People have always overestimate your capabilities and all that. And nowadays people tend to work less hard. Life seems good, and then I don't have to work hard and all that. But I think being poor, we don't have a choice. We have to work hard. Coming from a humble background, we have to work definitely hard. So my suggestion for you guys is, I was like so sad that I did not have a Tamil friend until I came to US. I didn't, because our politicians were so masterful to segregate us, and we don't. But this is not the common thing in Royal. This is not what's happening in Anando, Naland. All these politicians, Muslim and Tamil politicians, they all go to same school. They all speak the same English language. They have friends. your problem is my problem. Verankatakoda Mahavidyalaya never had a Tamil student. So I am sure Wembury Girls School in Jaffna never had a single girl there, right? So I'm saying they segregated us, but they didn't let their children. They can send their children to London or Paris, for trips. I mean, I was always wondering, Indima, maybe you also have seen that when your time in Colombo. That I see. This is how I heard in Sri Lankan radio. So Indima, you may have heard those days in radio. This is how it goes in Sinhala. විපක්ෂ නායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා ඊජිප්තුවේ සංචාරයක් සඳහායයි. විපක්ෂ නායක රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා ජපානයේ සංචාරයක් යයි. Then අග්‍රාමාත්‍ය රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මහතා නයිල් ගඟේ සවාරියක් යයි. එතකොට if I translate this is all about our current interim president Ranil Wickremesinghe when he was a opposition leader or a prime minister or a powerful cabinet ministry. I think he loves traveling the world. It's completely okay if he does it on his own money. But when he does it on public resources, money of your parents and mine, then that becomes a problem. And so sometimes it's unimaginable amount of money has been spent by these politicians. And so therefore, I think we are probably going off the topic a little bit. So the diversity is very important, and I think working hard is very important. So don't be reluctant to bring people outside of your community. I am simply proposing, I am asking all my Sinhalese friends, married to a Tamil person, Tamil girl or Tamil boy. What's wrong with that? I am also proposing to you that this is the way politicians have done. So they're doing all that, the right things. It is not okay for you or me to do that. So who are they to tell us that, right? So therefore, this is a fabricated divisions, and we Sinhalese never hated Tamil people. And we never heard that. We never heard our parents always, my mother always, she was able to speak a little bit of Tamil. She always tells us they're very hardworking, very honest people, because she used to get to know them when she was doing businesses in Ampara, that Sunday market and all that. So they were very honest, very nice people. So that's the image about. And also Sinhalese people believe that Tamil people are very, very hardworking and honest group of people. That's what we think of you. And I think I wanted to break this barrier. If students from the University of Jaffna, I was there. Some people actually wrote me. It's so important that when you are in the university, you work hard, you try to get A's and B's or B pluses for pretty much every single course. Put 150% of yourself for the education, and then the education door is open to you, and then you will travel the world. You will go beyond Jaffna, right? I mean, it's so funny, Indima. Now, if I think of like going somewhere, I go. Like last year, I went to Japan for a conference, and in this November, I'm going to Switzerland for a conference. I mean, this is a normal routine. If I wanted to go someplace, but this is me, did not go to Colombo until I grew up. I didn't know Colombo. Colombo was a magical place for me. And we only have seen airplanes flying in the sky, and I haven't seen an airplane, in close proximity, until I was a grown-up man. Education is the way to make all the obstacles disappear. And also, this is the time we make the right choice. We need to bring people who understand your upbringing, my upbringing, and then our difficulties, the sufferings of the people in a line of a hospital, or children who are fainting in the school assembly in the morning because the parent couldn't find anything starchy to feed them in the morning. And these things are happening everywhere in Sri Lanka. I mean, I was asked, a friend of mine who is a teacher from a very, very remote, like a forested area school, support them to provide a meal on I think that's the Children's Day, the coming up. And so they wanted to provide them a meal. But the problem is, I can do that, I will do that. But me providing a meal is not going to make that difference. As a community, as a whole, we need to make a change. So we should have a government who can take care of unable, disadvantaged people, make them able over the time, right? So that's the goal. So therefore, I think I have a really humble request for the, highly smart school children and also university students, academic community in Jaffna and Batticaloa and Mannar and all the other areas, that please, let's work together. There is only one political party in this election representing us, like me and you, and therefore, please, let's elect our colleague Anura Kumara in this election and then make this country a better place. Thank you.
So I think Ajit, same time it's a sensitive story, same time it's an inspiring story, same time it's a liberating story for all of us, for all the children, for all the university students, for all the A-level students in the country, from Jaffna or Kandy or Ampara, anywhere. So the take-home messages are, the thing is that we are suffering, we are poor, we are underprivileged, not because it is our fault or our parents' fault. It's because of the politicians' fault.
Absolutely.
They've been doing this to us for a long time now. Now it's high time we stop that. It's time for us to rethink and reset the country, right? Then the second, we both are awaiting that change. We both are believing in NPP to do that, right? In the leadership of AKD, we think that this country really has a chance for equal opportunities for everyone, right?
Absolutely.
Then the third is, this country is salvageable. We cannot just abandon the country.
It's still salvageable. It's still salvageable.
It's still salvageable, yeah. If they elect NPP, right? If people elect NPP. Otherwise, I think it's a hopeless place. So, let's do it. And we are inviting all of us, all your students, children, to think about it and take your decision and vote wisely to elect the real leader that this country longs for. So thank you very much, Ajit, again, Dr. Ajit. And it was so eye-opening, and it was so healing to talk to you. I think you will find this the same. And this is the story of a common boy in this country.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yes. And I think most of us can relate to that. So think of it. And I think we can do this together. Let's do this and let's change this country for better. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Indima.